Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever found yourself holding back, questioning your abilities, or feeling like you're not good enough? That little voice in your head that whispers, "What if I fail?" or "I'm not ready yet." That's self-doubt, and if we let it, it will keep us stuck, afraid to take risks, and hesitant to chase our dreams. But here's the truth. Self-doubt is a liar. It feeds on fear, insecurity, and past failures. The good news? You have the power to silence it. Confidence is not something we are born with. It is something we build, step by step, choice by choice. And today, I'm here to tell you that the power to transform your doubt into confidence has always been within you. So let's dive in. Let's break free from the chains of self-doubt and step into the unstoppable force of self-confidence. Because the moment you start believing in yourself, the world starts believing in you too. Self-doubt is a silent enemy that often goes unnoticed, creeping into our minds and shaping the way we see ourselves and our abilities. It can disguise itself as humility, caution, or even rational thinking. But in reality, it holds us back from reaching our full potential. It whispers thoughts of inadequacy, making us second-guess our decisions, question our worth, and hesitate when opportunities arise. This internal voice of doubt is not a reflection of reality, but rather a conditioned response built from past experiences, societal expectations, and our own fears. The first step in overcoming self-doubt is to recognize it for what it is, a learned habit, not an unchangeable truth. Many of our doubts stem from childhood experiences where we may have internalized the criticisms, failures, or rejections we encounter. A single negative comment from a teacher, a failed test, or an embarrassing moment in front of others can leave a lasting impression on our self-perception. Over time, these small instances accumulate, forming a belief system that tells us we are not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough to achieve great things. The mind clings to these past experiences, using them as evidence to justify our doubts. However, these are merely interpretations of events, not absolute truths. Recognizing that our doubts are shaped by past experiences allows us to separate them from the present reality. Another major contributor to self-doubt is the fear of failure. Society often portrays success as a straight path, where only the most talented and intelligent people achieve greatness. This illusion leads many to believe that making mistakes is a sign of weakness or incompetence. As a result, we become hesitant to take risks, fearing that any failure will confirm our worst insecurities. In reality, failure is an essential part of growth. Every successful person has faced setbacks, learned from them, and used them as stepping stones toward their achievements. Instead of viewing failure as proof of inadequacy, it should be seen as a learning experience that brings us closer to our goals. The influence of social comparison also plays a significant role in self-doubt. In the age of social media, we are constantly exposed to curated highlights of other people's lives, their achievements, successes, and seemingly perfect moments. This creates an unrealistic standard that makes us feel like we are falling behind or not measuring up. We compare our behind-the-scenes struggles with the polished versions of others, forgetting that everyone faces challenges, doubts, and failures that are simply not broadcasted for the world to see. This comparison traps us in a cycle of self-criticism, making it difficult to appreciate our own progress and strengths. Recognizing that everyone's journey is different helps us shift our focus from comparison to self-improvement. The way we talk to ourselves also has a profound impact on our confidence. Negative self-talk reinforces doubt, creating a cycle where we constantly undermine our abilities and potential. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed, or I don't have what it takes, become self-fulfilling prophecies, shaping our actions and limiting our growth. These thoughts are often irrational and exaggerated, yet they hold immense power over our mindset. Becoming aware of these patterns allows us to challenge and replace them with positive affirmations. Instead of saying, I can't do this, we can reframe it as, I may not know how to do this yet, but I can learn. Small shifts in language have a significant impact on how we perceive ourselves and our capabilities. Self-doubt can also be fueled by perfectionism, the belief that anything less than perfect is a failure. Perfectionists often set impossibly high standards for themselves and fear making mistakes. They believe that if they don't do something flawlessly, they shouldn't do it at all. This mindset leads to procrastination, avoidance, and an overwhelming sense of inadequacy. The truth is, perfection is an illusion. No one gets everything right the first time, and mistakes are a natural part of any learning process. Embracing imperfection and allowing room for growth is crucial in breaking free from the grip of self-doubt. One of the most effective ways to challenge self-doubt is to collect evidence against it. Often our doubts are based on irrational fears rather than facts. By reflecting on past achievements, skills, and strengths, we can build a solid foundation of confidence. Writing down moments of success, times when we overcame challenges, and instances where we proved ourselves capable serves as a reminder that we are more competent than our doubts suggest. Keeping a journal of accomplishments, no matter how small, helps reinforce a positive self-image and provides motivation during moments of uncertainty. Another powerful strategy is to question the validity of self-doubt. When negative thoughts arise, asking, is this thought based on fact or assumption, can help separate reality from fear-driven beliefs. Most of the time, self-doubt is based on hypothetical scenarios rather than actual evidence. Challenging these thoughts by seeking alternative perspectives allows us to break free from their grip. For example, instead of assuming, I'm not qualified for this job, we can ask, what skills and experiences do I have that make me a strong candidate? Shifting the focus from doubt to capability changes the way we approach challenges. Building self-confidence requires taking small, consistent actions that push us beyond our comfort zones. Confidence is not something that magically appears. It is cultivated through experience and persistence. Each time we step outside our comfort zone, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of handling challenges. Whether it's speaking up in a meeting, trying something new, or setting ambitious goals, every small victory contributes to a stronger sense of self-belief. Over time, these small actions accumulate, creating a foundation of confidence that overpowers doubt. The people we surround ourselves with also influence our self-perception. Being around supportive, uplifting individuals who encourage growth and positivity helps counteract self-doubt. On the other hand, toxic relationships filled with negativity, criticism, and discouragement can amplify insecurities. Choosing to engage with those who inspire and uplift us creates an environment where confidence can thrive. Seeking mentorship, joining supportive communities, and surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals who believe in our potential fosters a mindset of empowerment. Visualization is another powerful tool in overcoming self-doubt. The mind responds to imagery, and by envisioning success, we create a mental blueprint for confidence. Athletes, performers, and high achievers use visualization techniques to prepare for success by mentally rehearsing their desired outcomes. Imagining ourselves confidently achieving a goal, handling challenges with grace, and embracing our strengths reinforces a positive self-image. The more vividly we visualize success, the more real it becomes in our minds, making it easier to take action with confidence. Mindfulness and self-awareness also play a crucial role in recognizing and managing self-doubt. Practicing mindfulness helps us observe our thoughts without being controlled by them. Instead of automatically believing every doubt that arises, mindfulness allows us to take a step back, analyze our thoughts objectively, and choose a response that aligns with our growth. Developing self-awareness helps us catch negative thought patterns before they take hold, giving us the power to shift our mindset in a positive direction. Affirmations and self-empowerment techniques can rewire the way we think about ourselves. Repeating positive statements such as, "I am capable," "I believe in myself," and "I have the power to succeed," reinforces a mindset of confidence. These affirmations may feel unnatural at first, but over time they shape our internal dialogue, replacing doubt with self-assurance. The brain responds to repetition, and by consistently affirming our strengths, we reshape our beliefs about ourselves. Recognizing self-doubt is the first step, but actively challenging and replacing it is what leads to transformation. Doubt will always try to creep in, but by becoming aware of its origins, questioning its validity, and taking deliberate steps to build confidence, we regain control over our mindset. Confidence is not about eliminating doubt entirely, but about moving forward despite it. The more we practice these techniques, the more we develop an unshakable belief in our abilities. Taking action despite fear is one of the most crucial steps toward building self-confidence. Fear often paralyzes us, keeping us stuck in the same place, convincing us that we are not ready or capable of handling challenges. It whispers doubts in our minds, making us believe that failure is inevitable or that we are not good enough to succeed. The reality, however, is that fear is a natural response to stepping outside of our comfort zones. It is not an indicator that we should stop, but rather a signal that we are growing. The key to overcoming fear is not to eliminate it entirely, but to take action in spite of it. Fear thrives in uncertainty. When we face something unfamiliar, our minds instinctively seek safety by focusing on worst-case scenarios. This is a survival mechanism hardwired into our brains, meant to protect us from danger. However, in most cases, the fears we experience are not life-threatening, but rather psychological barriers that prevent us from taking necessary steps forward. The mind exaggerates risks, making challenges appear more intimidating than they truly are. A simple way to counteract this is by shifting our perspective. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" we can ask, "What if I succeed?" This small change in thinking allows us to see opportunities rather than obstacles, making it easier to act despite fear. The longer we hesitate, the more powerful fear becomes. Procrastination feeds self-doubt, reinforcing the idea that we are not ready to take action. The mind begins to justify inaction with excuses like waiting for the perfect moment, needing more preparation, or fearing what others might think. In reality, there is rarely a perfect moment, and preparation will only take us so far before action is required. The best way to weaken fear's grip is to act quickly before doubt has time to grow. Taking even the smallest step forward disrupts the cycle of hesitation and builds momentum. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. People who appear confident are not necessarily fearless. They have simply learned how to act even when fear is present. They understand that fear is temporary, but the regret of not trying lasts much longer. Every time we push through fear, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of handling discomfort. Over time, this repeated exposure to fear builds resilience and strengthens our confidence. What once seemed terrifying eventually becomes manageable, and what was once out of reach becomes achievable. Action leads to clarity. Many people hesitate to take the first step because they feel uncertain about the outcome. They want to be sure that they will succeed before they even begin. However, confidence is not built through overthinking. It is built through experience. Taking action, even if it is imperfect, provides valuable feedback that helps us learn and improve. Each attempt, whether successful or not, teaches us something new. It refines our skills, strengthens our problem-solving abilities, and helps us navigate challenges more effectively. Without action, we remain stuck in a cycle of doubt and speculation, never gaining the real-world experience needed to grow. One of the most effective ways to take action despite fear is to break challenges into smaller, manageable steps. Fear often feels overwhelming because we focus on the entire journey rather than the next immediate step. When we shift our focus to taking one small action at a time, fear becomes less intimidating. Instead of thinking about giving a full presentation, we can start by practicing a few sentences. Instead of worrying about launching a business, we can begin by researching the first step. Progress happens one step at a time, and each small step taken builds the confidence to take the next one. Repetition is a powerful tool for overcoming fear. The more we expose ourselves to situations that make us uncomfortable, the less intimidating they become. What once felt impossible becomes routine through consistent practice. This is why experienced public speakers, athletes, and performers appear confident. They have faced their fears repeatedly until those fears lost their power. By intentionally placing ourselves in situations that challenge us, we train our minds to become comfortable with discomfort. This gradual exposure strengthens our ability to take action even when fear is present. Fear of judgment is another major reason people hesitate to take action. Many people worry about what others will think if they fail, make mistakes, or appear less than perfect. This fear often stems from a deep-seated desire for approval and validation. However, the reality is that people are far more focused on their own lives than on scrutinizing ours. Even if others do have opinions, their judgments do not define our worth or capabilities. The only opinion that truly matters is our own belief in ourselves. Recognizing this allows us to break free from the fear of judgment and take action without being held back by the perceptions of others. Taking action despite fear also involves embracing discomfort. Growth does not happen within our comfort zones. It happens when we challenge ourselves to do things that feel unfamiliar or difficult. The discomfort we feel when stepping into new situations is not a sign that we are incapable, but rather an indication that we are expanding our abilities. Every time we push past discomfort, we stretch our limits and increase our capacity for handling challenges. Over time, what once felt uncomfortable becomes second nature, and our confidence grows as a result. The stories we tell ourselves about fear also shape our ability to take action. If we see fear as a signal to stop, we will remain stuck. But if we view fear as a sign that we are on the verge of growth, we can use it as motivation to move forward. Many successful individuals attribute their achievements not to the absence of fear, but to their ability to act in spite of it. They recognize that fear is simply part of the journey and does not have to control their decisions. Reframing fear as a companion rather than an enemy allows us to embrace it and move forward with confidence. One of the best ways to develop the habit of taking action despite fear is to commit to doing something every day that pushes us slightly outside of our comfort zones. This does not have to be a major, life-changing action. It can be as simple as striking up a conversation with a stranger, raising a hand in a meeting, or trying a new activity. These small daily challenges add up over time, training our minds to become comfortable with taking action, even in the presence of fear. Each time we successfully step outside our comfort zones, we reinforce the belief that we are capable, and our confidence grows as a result. Fear and self-doubt often go hand in hand, feeding off each other and keeping us trapped in inaction. However, the moment we decide to take action despite fear, we break the cycle. Action disrupts doubt, proving to ourselves that we are stronger than our insecurities. The first step is always the hardest, but once we take it, we realize that fear was never as powerful as it seemed. By consistently pushing past our fears, we build an unshakable foundation of confidence that allows us to pursue our goals with determination and resilience. Failure is often seen as something to be feared, a sign of weakness or proof that we are not good enough. Many people avoid taking risks because they are afraid of failing, believing that mistakes define their abilities and worth. This mindset, however, limits growth and prevents individuals from reaching their full potential. The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. Every great achievement has been built on a foundation of failures, lessons, and perseverance. Embracing failure as a learning tool allows us to turn setbacks into stepping stones and develop resilience that fuels long-term success. One of the biggest reasons people fear failure is because of the negative emotions associated with it. Feelings of embarrassment, disappointment, and frustration can be overwhelming, making it tempting to avoid situations where failure is a possibility. However, these emotions are temporary, while the lessons gained from failure have lasting value. Instead of allowing emotions to dictate our actions, we can choose to view failure as a valuable teacher that provides insight, experience, and wisdom. The most successful individuals have all faced failures, but instead of letting them become roadblocks, they use them as opportunities to learn and grow. Our perception of failure is shaped by societal expectations and the pressure to appear perfect. Many people feel that failure is a reflection of their worth, leading to self-doubt and a fear of judgment. In reality, Failure is a universal experience that everyone encounters at some point. No one achieves mastery without making mistakes along the way. Recognizing that failure is not a personal flaw, but rather a natural part of growth, helps shift our perspective. The more we normalize failure, the less power it has over us, allowing us to take risks without fear of being defined by our setbacks. Failure provides direct feedback about what works and what doesn't. When we attempt something and do not succeed, we gain valuable information about areas that need improvement. This feedback is essential for progress because it allows us to make adjustments and refine our approach. Without failure, there would be no need for innovation, adaptation, or problem solving. Many breakthroughs in science, business, and personal development have occurred because individuals embraced failure, analyzed their mistakes, and made necessary changes. Instead of viewing failure as a dead end, it should be seen as a redirection toward a better path. Resilience is built through failure. Every time we face a setback and choose to keep going, we develop mental and emotional strength. Resilience is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. The ability to persist despite challenges is a skill that can be developed through repeated exposure to failure. The more we experience setbacks and learn to navigate them, the stronger we become. This resilience not only helps in achieving goals, but also equips us to handle life's uncertainties with confidence and adaptability. One of the greatest lessons failure teaches is adaptability. In a world that is constantly changing, the ability to adjust and respond to challenges is crucial. Failure forces us to reevaluate our strategies, think creatively, and explore alternative solutions. Those who fear failure often resist change, clinging to comfort zones that limit their potential. However, those who embrace failure develop the ability to pivot, adjust, and find new ways to succeed. Adaptability is a key trait of high achievers because it allows them to navigate setbacks without being discouraged. Fear of failure often leads to perfectionism, a mindset that demands flawlessness and avoids mistakes at all costs. Perfectionists set unrealistic standards for themselves and become paralyzed by the fear of not meeting them. This fear prevents them from taking action, trying new things, or stepping outside their comfort zones. However, perfection is an illusion. No one achieves success without making mistakes. And waiting for perfection only leads to stagnation. Accepting that failure is part of the learning process allows us to take action without being held back by unrealistic expectations. The greatest innovations and achievements in history have come from individuals who were not afraid to fail. Thomas Edison famously failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney faced multiple rejections before building his empire. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job. These individuals did not allow failure to define them. Instead, they used it as motivation to keep going. Their stories prove that failure is not the end of the road, but rather a necessary step toward greatness. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often the willingness to keep trying despite setbacks. Failure also teaches humility. It reminds us that we do not have all the answers and that growth requires continuous learning. Humility allows us to seek guidance, ask for help, and acknowledge that improvement takes time. Those who embrace failure with humility are open to constructive criticism, willing to learn from others, and able to adapt their strategies. This mindset fosters personal and professional growth, making failure a valuable tool for development rather than a source of shame. One of the most effective ways to overcome the fear of failure is to reframe how we define success. If success is only measured by perfection and never making mistakes, then failure will always feel like a threat. However, if success is defined by progress, learning, and resilience, then failure becomes part of the journey. Shifting our definition of success allows us to see failure as a sign that we are pushing our limits and striving for something greater. Each failure brings us closer to mastery by revealing what needs to be improved. Taking calculated risks is another important aspect of embracing failure as a learning tool. Many people avoid risks because they associate them with potential failure. However, growth comes from stepping into the unknown and challenging ourselves. The more we take action despite uncertainty, the more comfortable we become with failure. Over time, risk-taking becomes a habit, allowing us to pursue bigger goals without being paralyzed by fear. Failure also helps us develop problem-solving skills. When something does not go as planned, we are forced to think critically, evaluate our approach, and find solutions. These problem-solving abilities are essential for success in any field. Those who avoid failure miss out on the opportunity to develop these skills, while those who embrace failure gain the ability to overcome obstacles with creativity and resilience. The challenges we face teach us to approach problems from different angles and find innovative ways to move forward. Self-reflection is a powerful tool for learning from failure. When we experience setbacks, taking time to analyze what went wrong and what can be improved helps us gain insight. Instead of dwelling on failure as a negative experience, we can use it as an opportunity to understand our strengths and weaknesses. Reflecting on past failures allows us to recognize patterns, adjust our approach, and make informed decisions moving forward. Growth comes from learning, and failure provides some of the most valuable lessons we can receive. Surrounding ourselves with the right people also plays a significant role in how we perceive failure. Supportive mentors, friends, and colleagues can offer encouragement, guidance, and perspective. They can remind us that failure is temporary and that setbacks do not define our abilities. Seeking out a community of like-minded individuals who understand the value of failure helps reinforce a positive mindset. Conversations with those who have overcome failures can provide inspiration and motivation to keep going despite challenges. The mindset we adopt toward failure determines how we respond to it. A fixed mindset sees failure as proof of inadequacy, while a growth mindset views failure as a chance to improve. Those with a growth mindset understand that abilities are not fixed and that effort leads to progress. By cultivating a mindset that welcomes challenges and views failure as a learning opportunity, we set ourselves up for long-term success. Failure is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. Every setback is a step forward, every mistake is a lesson, and every failure is an opportunity to grow. Self-belief is one of the most powerful forces that shape our lives. It influences how we think, how we act, and ultimately what we achieve. When we believe in ourselves, we approach challenges with confidence, persistence, and resilience. However, self-belief does not always come naturally. Many people struggle with self-doubt, questioning their abilities and potential. This doubt can stem from past failures, negative experiences, or even the opinions of others. It can make us hesitate, limit our ambitions, and prevent us from pursuing opportunities that could lead to growth and success. The key to overcoming self-doubt is to cultivate an unshakable belief in ourselves, one that remains strong even in the face of adversity. Building self-belief starts with understanding that confidence is not something we are born with. It is something we develop through action, experience, and mindset. No one starts out feeling completely self-assured in every situation. Confidence is built over time through repeated experiences that reinforce our capabilities. The more we challenge ourselves, take risks, and step out of our comfort zones, the more we prove to ourselves that we are capable. Every small success adds to our belief in our abilities, creating a foundation of confidence that allows us to take on bigger challenges. Negative self-talk is one of the biggest obstacles to self-belief. The way we speak to ourselves has a direct impact on our confidence and motivation. When we constantly criticize ourselves, focus on our flaws, or compare ourselves to others, we reinforce feelings of inadequacy. This inner dialogue becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, shaping our actions and outcomes. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," we can say, "I am capable of learning and growing." Instead of thinking, "I always fail," we can remind ourselves every failure is an opportunity to improve. By consciously shifting our inner dialogue, we train our minds to support rather than sabotage us. One of the most effective ways to strengthen self-belief is to reflect on past successes. Many people focus so much on their mistakes and shortcomings that they overlook their achievement. Taking time to acknowledge what we have accomplished, no matter how small, reinforces the idea that we are capable of overcoming challenges. Keeping a success journal where we write down achievements, positive feedback, and moments of growth serves as a reminder of our strengths. When doubt creeps in, looking back at these successes can provide the motivation and reassurance needed to keep going. Surrounding ourselves with supportive and encouraging people also plays a crucial role in building self-belief. The people we interact with influence our thoughts and emotions. If we are constantly around negative, critical, or unsupportive individuals, it becomes difficult to maintain confidence. On the other hand, being around people who uplift us, believe in us, and encourage us to pursue our goals helps reinforce our own self-belief. Seeking out mentors, friends, and role models who inspire and support us creates an environment where confidence can thrive. Taking responsibility for our own growth is another key aspect of building self-belief. Many people wait for external validation before believing in themselves, relying on others to reassure them of their worth. However, true self-belief comes from within. It requires taking ownership of our actions, decisions, and mindset. When we hold ourselves accountable for our progress, we develop a sense of control over our lives. This sense of control fosters confidence because it reinforces the idea that we have the power to shape our own future. Rather than waiting for permission to believe in ourselves, we must actively choose to do so. Facing challenges head-on is an essential part of developing self-belief. Avoiding difficulties or staying within our comfort zones only reinforces self-doubt. Each time we face a challenge and overcome it, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of handling adversity. Even if we do not succeed immediately, the process of trying, learning, and improving strengthens our belief in our abilities. Viewing challenges as opportunities rather than threats allows us to develop resilience and confidence. The more we push through obstacles, the more we realize that we are stronger than we once thought. Developing self-belief also requires letting go of the fear of failure. Many people hesitate to take action because they are afraid of making mistakes or falling short of expectations. However, failure is not a reflection of worth or ability. It is a natural part of growth. Every successful person has faced setbacks, but what sets them apart is their ability to keep going despite them. Embracing failure as a learning experience rather than a personal flaw allows us to move forward with confidence. When we stop seeing failure as something to fear, we become more willing to take risks and pursue our goals. Visualization is a powerful tool for strengthening self-belief. When we vividly imagine ourselves succeeding, we create a mental blueprint that guides our actions. Athletes, performers, and high achievers often use visualization techniques to prepare themselves mentally for success. By picturing ourselves achieving our goals, handling challenges with confidence, and performing at our best, we reinforce the belief that success is possible. The mind responds to these mental images as if they were real experiences, making it easier to act with confidence when the time comes. Taking consistent action is crucial for maintaining self-belief. Confidence is not something that is built overnight. It requires ongoing effort. Setting small, achievable goals and following through with them reinforces the idea that we are capable of accomplishing what we set out to do. Each completed task, no matter how minor, adds to our sense of competence and self-assurance. Over time, these small wins accumulate, strengthening our overall belief in ourselves. When we commit to taking action despite doubt, we prove to ourselves that confidence comes from doing rather than waiting for the perfect moment. Self-belief is also strengthened by aligning our actions with our values. When we live in accordance with what we truly believe in, we develop a sense of authenticity and self-trust. Doubt often arises when we feel disconnected from our true selves or when we try to conform to expectations that do not align with our core value. Taking time to understand what truly matters to us and making decisions based on those principles creates a solid foundation of self-belief. When we trust ourselves to act with integrity and purpose, confidence naturally follows. Another key aspect of building self-belief is recognizing that growth is a continuous process. There is no final destination where we suddenly become completely confident in every aspect of life. Confidence fluctuates, and that is normal. The important thing is to keep moving forward, learning and adapting along the way. Each new experience presents an opportunity to strengthen our self-belief. When we approach life with a mindset of continuous improvement, we remain open to new possibilities and challenges without being held back by self-doubt. Letting go of comparison is essential for maintaining self-belief. In today's world, it is easy to measure our progress against others, whether through social media, work, or personal achievements. However, comparison often leads to self-doubt because it shifts our focus away from our own growth. Everyone's journey is unique, and success looks different for each individual. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, we should focus on our own progress and celebrate our personal achievements. The only person we need to compete with is the version of ourselves from yesterday. Ultimately, self-belief is a choice. It is a decision to trust ourselves, to take action despite doubt, and to continue pushing forward no matter what obstacles arise. It is not about being fearless or never experiencing uncertainty. It is about choosing to believe in our potential. even when things feel difficult. The more we practice self-belief, the stronger it becomes, shaping the way we approach challenges, opportunities, and life as a whole.